A lot of people know that I have a Ph.D. in electrical engineering, but not a lot of people know that I've been ordained as a minister in a Baptist church when I was living in Atlanta. So I don't think very many people know that. But I am a minister also here at New Testament Church of Milwaukee, and I do occasionally give sermons, and that's really my passion, because I see, yes, technology can solve some of man's problems, but I think there's some deep spiritual problems that only can be solved by faith in God. I have had some interesting conversations with people who don't believe that God exists, and I think they're a little confused that I can have a Ph.D. in electrical engineering and believe that God exists. So that has come up on occasion. One of my missions in life is to be a role model by following Jesus as my role model. And part of being a role model for me is fulfilling all of my talents and my gifts and my potential. And I have a lot of interests and passions related to technology and using that to help people. So yes, I view myself as a role model, as a professor in technology and engineering, but also I want to be a role model as far as the way I relate to my wife and my children and have a good family, because I think that's really needed as well in the African American community, to have good role models for families as well. When I was in college is probably when my faith was reignited. My first experience in college at KU. And as I grew in my faith, I saw that there was kind of a dichotomy. It's like, if you really love God, you'll become a pastor or a missionary. But if you don't quite love Him that much, you can't really be an engineer. And at one point I thought about leaving engineering school to become a missionary and go to a Bible Institute full-time. And the pastor at our time said, he didn't believe that God wanted me to leave engineering just because it was getting harder, and that maybe there was going to be a way God could use me as an engineer. And so it seemed like every time I thought about going to a seminary, it seemed like it turned out to become, He led me more to get more engineering education. And one of the reasons why I like the way my life has turned out in that regards is because I want young people to know that you can love God and be an engineer, you can be an artist, you can be a musician, you can be a lawyer, a doctor, and you can reach your full potential in whatever field that God's giving you those desires for. And so I want people to know that you don't have to be a minister to fulfill your God-given potential. I think one way to summarize engineering is you're a problem solver. And as a person of faith, and particularly faith in Jesus, Jesus solved a big problem that man had in a broken relationship with God, to bring man back to a relationship and fellowship with God. And so being a minister, we want to help people solve problems in their lives, in their spiritual lives, in their family lives. Being an engineer, we want to help people solve problems in health, or with technical communications, or with water or energy. And so I think there's a big correlation between being an engineer as a problem solver and a minister as someone who serves others to try to meet their needs and help them solve their problems. I would just like to say, I am a minister, but more importantly, I believe in Jesus Christ as my Savior and Lord, and have a personal relationship with Him. And I want people to know all the good that can come from that. And I hope that my life is a testimony to that truth. One of my other missions in life is to show the secular community that faith is relevant to their lives. And one of the things that I strive to do is to make my faith relevant to everyday life. So a lot of things I'm motivated by comes from my faith to help people. And for example, we're trying to develop a low-cost social robot to help kids with their homework, help them to learn STEM. And that's driven by my desire to help low-income families, this desire to help those who are disadvantaged. And it's all driven by that, but it's also driven by the technology that has to be created to see that dream come true. It also driven by needing to learn how to be entrepreneurial, because I want other kids to be able to start their own businesses, their own technology companies, so I have to learn how to do those things myself to be a role model.